how the stars are seen.
Think of the skies above us as a gigantic sphere that surrounds the Earth. Celestial sphere coordinates are based on the Earth's equator extending into the sky. Directly over the Earth's equator is the celestial equator. Directly over the North Pole is the North Celestial Pole. Directly over the South Pole, the South Celestial Pole. Whatever your latitude is on Earth, that's straight up overhead. If you were at 40 north, you come up to plus 40 declination, and that line's straight up overhead. 40 degrees off the poles, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 40 degrees, that's what we always see as north circumpolar, and 40 degrees up is what you never see, the southern horizon. So you always see that, you never see that at 40 degrees north. As you keep coming south, you see more and more stars until you get to the equator where you see the whole sky. The poles are on the horizon, and the whole sky rises straight up in the east and sets straight down in the west. If you were at the North Pole, you'd just see the top half of the map going around and around. All the stars would stay in the same position in concentric circles all the way around, the same at the South Pole. Now this line, akin to longitude, is called right ascension. This is 360 degrees around the whole path of the sun as it travels around the Earth every year. It starts at the vernal equinox, summer solstice, autumnal equinox, December solstice, back to the vernal equinox. See, we're tilted 23.5 degrees in our orbit about the sun. The summertime we point into the sun, the wintertime we point away from the sun. Summer solstice, winter solstice. Now wherever the sun is on this ecliptic or zodiacal path, the stars to the left of it are the early evening stars, the stars to the right of it are the early morning stars. So if you stay out all night, you can see almost all the stars you can see from that point on Earth, where just that little spot where the sun is hiding them, you can't see it. And you see a few more stars each morning and a few less each evening in about 4 minutes of sky a day. There's 360 degrees, 365 days, so slightly less than a degree of sky a day the sun moves. At the autumnal equinox, this half early evening, this half early morning. Now you say, why stargaze? Well, unlike terrestrial geography where you must go to the spot on the Earth to appreciate it, if you know the stars, you can be anywhere and the stars will come to you and you can say hello to your friends in the sky and not get lost.
This is take number 2, Zodiac, about 3 minutes. Beep.
The ancients saw the sun moving in a path in the sky, which is actually the extension of the Earth's orbit. It goes this way. We're actually going at a tilt. The Earth is tilted 23.5 degrees and goes around like this. In the summertime, we point into the sun. In the wintertime, we point away from the sun. And as these movements of the sun through the zodiac, astrologers use that, but the astronomers have a 13th constellation, Ophiuchus, over here. But we'll start here in Pisces, which are the fishes tied together with long cords with Alrhetia the knot here. The northern fish and the western fish is on the other end of the map over here. Here's Aries, the ram, the Hamel, Sheraton, and Mesartum. This is the goat that the Jason and the Argonauts are chasing with the golden fleece. We come next to Taurus the bull. We have Elnath and Shurnag-Kabti-Shishutu, the longest star name. These are the horns of the bull, the Hyades, the face of the bull with Aldebaran the eye, the Pleiades over here. And up to the summer solstice, and Gemini the twins, Castor and Pollux, and they're standing straight up overhead. Cancer the crab, the dimmest of the zodiacal constellations, as anciently they saw the crab climbing up like the sun in the summertime when it gets straight up way overhead. Next is Leo the lion. Regulus, named by Copernicus, means the prince. Backwards question mark, and the tail, Denebola, the tail of the lion. And then we move on to Virgo at the autumnal equinox. Here's the wings of the Virgin, the ear of wheat called Spica or Spica, that the Virgin is holding, the train of the Virgin's gown. And then we move on to the ancient double constellation of Libra and Scorpius. Libra is the scales, but anciently the tail of the scorpion, the heart of the scorpion here, and the head, the claws went out that way, the northern and the southern claws of the scorpion. Following on through, we come to Sagittarius the archer. He's holding the bow here and shooting an arrow towards Scorpius, the back of his head over this way. He's the god Chiron, who's taught lesser gods and was a centaur, the body of a horse and the top of a man. We move on next to Capricornus, with which looks like a little upside down hat. Next to the water, this is the watery area of the sky. And finally, we come to Aquarius, the water bear, the water jar holding the shoulder and the water sack over here, and the little water droplets falling down into the mouth of the southern fish, Fomolo. And here's the western fish of Pisces back to the vernal equinox. And the sun moves through this zodiacal path once every year, and with this 14 little days in here in Ophiuchus, astronomically. The astrologers just have 12, astronomers have 13. And throughout all this path, and varying sides of it, are the planets. This is the realm of the planets. I have photographic ears. Now,
Okay. This is seasonal stars, March through April.
seasonal stars are those stars that are out the first few hours of evening after the sun goes down. But if you stay out all night, you can see almost all the stars you can see from any point on Earth. You see, when the sun follows this zodiacal path, the path of the ecliptic, actually the Earth's orbit, the first few hours of evening, you see the left half. The last, before morning, you see the right half. You see half the sky at any one time. See, the Earth is tilted, and we go around like this. Summertime, we point into the sun. Wintertime, we point away from the sun. Summer solstice, winter solstice. Now, right now, the sun is approaching from the vernal equinox up here in April, and these stars are in the western sky and come up about to here throughout the night, the first few hours of the night, that is. We'll first see the head of Cetus, the whale, setting in the west, Capella, the goat star, in the northwest, Taurus, the bull, here with the Hyades, Aldebaran, the eye of the bull, with the horns of the bull, and the Pleiades. Charging here at Orion, the belt stars of Orion pointing down to Sirius, the brightest star in Canis Major, the dog constellation, Canis Major. Over here is Procyon, the little dog star, Canis Minor. Right between Monoceros, a fairly modern constellation, the unicorn, and above that, Gemini, the twins, Castor and Pollux, Cancer, the crab, the head of Hydra, the sea snake that wends its way back, Sextans, Crater, the cup, Corvus, the crow, Leo, the lion, the backward question mark here in the tail of the lion, Virgo, the virgin, with this ear of wheat, the wings of the virgin, the ark of the dipper, arcs to Arcturus, with Bootes, the herdsman, leading Canis Venacitae, the hunting dogs. And this, the diamond of Virgo, follow Arcturus to Coracoralie, which means the heart of Charles, down to Denebola, the tail of the lion. Halfway between is Coma Berenices hare, named by Tycho Brahe. She promised Venus, if her husband returned safely from war, to cut her hair for the altar. He did. She cut her hair, and it vanished into the sky where it is today. And halfway between Denebola and Spica are the wings of the Virgin. We move this way to Libra and Scorpius in the zodiac, and Ophiuchus, the serpent bear holding the serpens. Above it here is Corona Borealis, and you follow from there up to Hercules. And now you're in the western, or rather the eastern sky. And if you stay out, more stars will rise, and you'll be able to see all the stars in your area. Now, why stargaze? Well, unlike terrestrial geography, where you must go to the spot on the map to appreciate it, if you know the stars, you can say hello to your friends in the sky and not get lost. And you're seeing actually living history. You're seeing what the ancients saw.
This is cut number 4, seasonal stars, May through June.
Seasonal stars are those stars that you see during the first few hours of evening after the sun goes down. But if you stay out all night, you can see almost all the stars you can see in one night's viewing, because of the Earth rotates once around its axis. The Earth is tilted 23.5 degrees, and we go around at that same tilt. And so in the summertime, we point into the sun. In wintertime, we point away from the sun. Summer solstice, winter solstice. Right now, the sun has just passed the so-called wonders of the wintertime sky. It's right here. It blocks Orion and all these stars out, and you can barely see Sirius in the southwest setting just after the sun goes down. And as the night goes on, these first half of the map here is what we see as the evening stars. And first you'll see the Castor and Pollux setting in the west, and Procyon, the little dog star, And moving further on, we have Hydra the sea snake that runs way back here, and Cancer the crab, and Leo the lion, Sextans the sextant, Crater the cup, and Corvus the crow, pointing up here to Spica in Virgo, the virgin holding the sheaf of wheat with her gown and the wings of the virgin. Her head is up here. Coma Berenice's hair. She promised Venus if her husband returned safely from war to cut her hair for the altar. He did. She cut her hair and it disappeared into the sky. We follow the arc of the Dipper to Arcturus and Bootes the herdsman down to Spica, the diamond of Virgo. Carry on here to Libra, which is the scales. Anciently, it was a double constellation with Scorpius, the tail, the heart of the scorpion, the head, and the claws going out that way. The end of Hydra here. Up here is Corona Borealis, the northern crown, a floral crown given to Bacchus by Bacchus. The head of Hydra the sea snake that runs through Ophiuchus, the serpent bear, he's holding on to the snake. Hercules, he's kneeling here, he's actually upside down. His head's here, his arm is here, holding up a club here, and he's kneeling down that way. And straight down to Scorpius, the scorpion, and to Sagittarius, the archer, which is shooting a bow here and an arrow into the scorpion, the back of the bow and the back of the head of the archer, Sagittarius. Half the sky and in the eastern part of the sky at this time of the year. Now, if you stay out, you'll see a whole bunch more. But you ask, why stargaze? Well, unlike terrestrial geography, where you must go to the spot on the map to appreciate it, if you know the stars, you can be anywhere and the stars will come to you and you can say hello to your friends in the sky and not get lost. When you look into the sky, you're seeing ancient history, the same things that the ancients saw.
This is the seasonal stars, July through August, cut number 5.
Seasonal stars are those stars that are out the first couple hours of evening after the sun goes down. But if you stay out all night, you can see almost all the stars you can see from that point on Earth in one night's viewing, because the Earth rotates once around every day. The Earth is tilted in its axis, and it goes around always at that tilt. In the summertime, we point into the sun. In the wintertime, we point away from the sun. Here's the summer solstice, this December solstice. Right now, the sun is approaching this area in the sky, the autumnal equinox. It's right over here near Leo. And Leo's diving into the west right now, and these are your western stars, and way over here, the first half of the map here is your first couple hours viewing. And if you stay out, you can see the last half of the map. You can see the wonders of the wintertime sky rise up before the sun comes up. But as you come this way, from west to east, you'll first see Virgo, the Virgin, and Arcturus, the Arc of the Dipper, arcing to Arcturus, and the Diamond of Virgo, just standing up and setting in the west. And as you come this way, you'll see Libra and Scorpius, the scorpion's claws coming up here in the ancient double constellation. And above it, Ophiuchus, the serpent bearer, holding the serpent under the Corona Borealis, and out through Hercules, the kneeler, and to Vega, which is the brightest, third brightest star in the sky, and Lyra the lyre, the harp of Apollo. And this summer triangle, which is beginning to be viewed up in the southwest, southeast rather, is Deneb and Altair in Cygnus the swan flying down the Milky Way, and Aquila the eagle, it's flying back this way. Halfway between Altair and Albirio, the head of the swan, Deneb the tail of the swan, is Sagitta the arrow and Vulpecula the fox. And moving on, we have Delphinus the dolphin, also known as Job's coffin, a little diamond-like affair in the sky. And as we come through Equuleus, we come to the little goat, the little colt or the foal, because the big horse, Pegasus, is the flying horse that made fame with Perseus saving Andromeda from Cetus the whale. The head of the horse, the front legs, the wing of the horse, and the little colt here. Directly under that, the little circlet, the western fish of Pisces, Aquarius the water bearer, which has the water jar here, the shoulders running over Capricornus here, and the little water droplets flowing down into the mouth of the southern fish, Fomolo. And if you stay out all night, you can see all the rest of the stars coming up except for that part where the sun is. But you ask, why stargaze? Well, unlike terrestrial geography, where you must go to the spot on the Earth to appreciate it, if you know the stars, you can look up and say hello to your friends in the sky and never get lost. And you're seeing ancient history when you look, living history itself, because you're seeing what the ancients saw.
This is Lore of the Heavens with a giant map, cut number 6.
The stars in the sky seem to maintain the same patterns, even though all the stars are moving very, very fast. The whole history of man hasn't been long enough for us to see much change in the sky that the ancients named. So we've adopted their names, and we can look out and see living history and enjoy the lore of the heavens as they saw it. Generally, it began with the ancient Chaldeans, Mesopotamians. The Greeks and the Arabs were the most prolific star namers because they were out in the desert and were guarding their flocks and enjoyed the heavens. And so their names come to us. Ptolemy, the great Greek teacher, collected the known constellations to about 44. And since then, the Renaissance astronomers like Tycho and Copernicus and Petrus Plancius named others. And into the modern era, when the French explorers went to the South Seas, they named the southern stars with more modern names like telescopium and microscopium and navigational equipment like octans and sextans. And I'll generally go through some of these constellations for you. Here's Cassiopeia, the boasting queen who was married to Cephas, who's on the other end of the map. Andromeda, their daughter, who was chained and exposure to the sea monster. Perseus, the hero, who's going to save her. Triangulum, the triangle, and Ares, the ram, and Pisces, and Cetus, the whale. Here, they're all grouped there in that one Greek story. The Pleiades are part of Taurus the bull, the oldest in animal rights with the horns of the bull, and Orija the charioteer, and Orion the hunter with a belt down to Sirius the bright star. Castor and Pollux, Gemini the twins, Canis Minor, the little dog star, Monoceros the unicorn, a modern name, Ophisina typographica. These are asterisms that aren't really constellations. Now there are about 88 constellations that are dogmatically accepted. Canis Major with Sirius, the brightest star here. Hydra the sea snake, the longest constellation. Sextans, Crater, and Corvus ride the back of the sea snake. Leo the lion here with the backwards question mark, Regulus, Denebola the tail of the lion, the wings of the Virgin, Spica, the ear of wheat the Virgin is holding in her gown, the ark of the Big Dipper to Arcturus, Boötes the herdsman, who's leading these hunting dogs, Canis Venusitae, and Coma Berenices, the Brahe constellation, with the field of galaxies in this area. Halfway between these two stars is the field of galaxies. Coming down to Virgo, the wings of the Virgin, and back now to Libra and Scorpius, the scorpion, and Ophiuchus, the serpent bearer. Here's the serpent, here's the serpent bearer. Hercules, the kneeling giant, there's his kneeled leg, he's holding out a bouquet of flowers here, he's lifting up a club here, and his head is here. The serpent bearer, Corona Borealis, the northern crown, floral crown, Boötes again, and we come this way to the eastern sky. In the summertime, just in the early summertime, these will be coming up in the early evening. The summer triangle, Vega, Deneb, and Altair, Aquila the eagle, Cygnus the swan flying down the Milky Way. Here's the wings, the head of the swan. Vulpecula the fox, the jet of the arrow. Delphinus the dolphin. Equuleus the little colt with a big horse Pegasus. Aquarius the water bearer. Capricornus, Sagittarius the archer shooting an arrow. All these stars are there for us to enjoy. But why stargaze? Well, unlike terrestrial geography, where you must go to the spot on the Earth to appreciate it, if you know the stars will come to you and you can say hello to your friends in the sky and see living history itself.
This is cut number 7, 10-second promo, 10-second spot on the star sky map.
Want to know the stars? Get the world's best award-winning state-of-the-art and celestial maps, maps of the heavens at your nearest astronomy shop, planetarium, or map store.
That one worked.
Right.
So we're all set. So I guess we go to the 60 by 30 map.
Right.
This is cut number 8 on the 10-second spot by the 60 by 30 map.
Want to know the stars? Get David W. Teskey's world's best award-winning state-of-the-art and celestial maps, maps of the heavens, at your nearest planetarium or map store.
This is cut number 9, 60-second spot by the 60 by 30 map.
Want to learn the stars? Get this world's best award-winning state-of-the-art and celestial maps, not only accurately plotting every star you can see, but every nuance of brightness reflected to hundredths of a decimal. More star names than any other map, all the Greek designations, constellation names and lines, variable stars, more star names than any other map. And they're all toned to fade out of distance when you stand back. They all fade away for an aesthetic, all-encompassing view of the sky, for stargazing, learning the sky, navigating, and enjoying the lore of the heavens. With a dimmer on the light, you can turn it down and turn it up. The brighter stars come up in a continuous flow. Get this wonderful motif for any room at your nearest planetarium, map store, or astronomy shop. Or, here's how to order.
This is cut number 10, the interview, about 4 minutes at the Star Sky Map.
Hello there, David. How did you get started in mapping the stars?
Well, back in 1970, I saw the total solar eclipse in Miahuatlan, Mexico, which is the Eclipse Chasers eclipse. And I came back to Iowa that fall, and the smog had come there, and every time I looked up, I saw a satellite going over, and the lights of the city had dimmed the wonders of my childhood sky. So I thought if I didn't really learn the sky, I never would see it because it'd all be gone away soon. And at that time, there weren't any satisfactory maps. All the ones that were out were circular ones with the pole centered and the equator the circumference. But anybody in North America looks out, the equator is halfway up in the southern sky, and so with those maps, you have to twist and turn them to get bearing. And I conceived this cylindrical projection with an all-encompassing view of the sky, and makes it easier for stargazing. You can read everything right straight across. And in '71, it was the 400th birthday of Copernicus, or rather Kepler, Johannes Kepler, who formulated the laws of planetary motion from Tycho Brahe's observations. And he was a meticulous observer, so I thought, well, why not make a flat wooden map with upholstery nails as the stars for a blind person to enjoy the heavens. So he could run his hand through the Milky Way and feel the stars. And then it was the 500th birthday of Copernicus. And stimulated by all this and the work I had done, I hand-plotted 5,700 stars in only 14 days, and with that speed it compounded the errors, and I decided I'd have a modern computer draw the stars, befitting Tycho, who was the most accurate observer of his day, and I made this computer-generated star map, and I kept revising and refining it in these past 10 years, and now I have published all these maps and have the world's best award-winning state-of-the-art in maps.
Well, how come there's so many maps? I mean, is one enough?
Well, I'm a perfectionist, and the thing that's kept me going in the star mapping is that I can check 1 billion times the accuracy of everything, and then when it goes to press, instantaneously, the first one off the press, the first error jumps right off the page. That's kept me going. I say, well, there it is. I figure if one perfect comes off, the universe will come to an end. It reminds me of the jeweler and the watchmaker in England who made the world's best watch, supposedly worked years and years on them, and he knew that they'd be inaccurate, so you can't be perfect in everything, and I hadn't gone mass just until recently, not wanting to perpetuate my errors, but I realized that that was a fruitless effort, and now I keep having the last issue as my best, and maybe we can keep going from there.
Okay, well now, what is this market for your star maps? I mean, can you make a living at it?
Well, I have been. It's just starting to pay off, and the markets are opening up in planetarium stores, map stores, poster and books shops, and now with mail order and the video market, you can do it in cassette and cable and TV. And those markets are all opening up right now. Magazine ads.
But why? I mean, why stargaze? What good is it?
Well, unlike terrestrial geography, where you must go to the spot on the map to appreciate it, if you know the stars, you can say hello to your friends in the sky anywhere on Earth and not get lost. And we're seeing actually living history. All the stars are moving very quickly, but the whole history of man hasn't been long enough for us to see much change in the sky that the ancients named. So as we look out, we see history and can enjoy what they enjoyed way back when. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
This is cut number 12, the comedy and song routine.
Think I'm a salesman? Well, I'm here to sell you my various careers. I started off in life as a magician, and I'll now do a trick. When I take my hat off, there'll be a rabbit sitting on my head. I'll say the magic words, Ishki Windin Bobuskin Bobuskin Madash Hocus Pocus Damonocus Abracadabra. I take my hat off, and there is a hair on my head. Now, let me see how I look on the screen. You know, if you didn't know me, you'd swear I was bald. Video makes me look bald. You know, some guy said to me that I'd need 2 coffins, one for me and my ego, but I said to him, no, I need 3, one for me, myself, and I, the id of my ego, because my next job, I became the messiah of the true BUNAB. Yes, I sold products for Orville K. Snab that had absolutely no use. So you can see that job came to nothing. And then I decided to sell my body. Yeah, I became a contortionist. I did things like this and like that. And then that didn't pan out, and I became a contortionist, a distortionist rather, one who distorts his face and makes funny faces. Here's my favorite as a bird. Well, anyway, this mobile face. And then outside of my body, I began to sell my voice, and I did radio ads like this. Here's a cross-fertilizing job that Mother Nature intended the honeybee to do, but that little critter wasn't scientific enough for the flagrante delecto. In the flagrante delecto's experimental gardens, scientists fertilized blossoms by hand to breed peas with just the right sweetness and tenderness, the kind found only in peas picked and packed at the fleeting moment of perfect flavor, the flagrante delecto flavor. How about getting next to it tonight? That's flagrante delecto peas, the great grandpappy of the flagrante delecto flavor. A new pack is now at your grocer's. Well, that didn't pan out, so I decided that my voice should include musical instruments, so I became the human synthesizer. And I did trumpets like well, and so on. And then I became the clarinet. Or the kazoo. Or how about Pee Wee Hunt playing O on the muted trombone? Well, that didn't work, and so I decided to chuck it all for uranography. Yes, that was graphing the Uranos, graphing the universe from the Greek word for the stars. Yes, I then had my head in the heavens. But it's all for the enjoyment or the art of communicating. And right now, I think I'm going to give you an ode to the god of music. I've been alive forever, and I sang the very first song. I put the words and the melodies together. I am music, and I sing the songs. I sing the songs that make the whole world sing. I sing the songs of love and special things. I sing the songs that make the young girls cry. I sing the songs, I sing the songs. My home life is deep within you, and I've got my own place in your soul. And when I look out through your eyes, I'm young again, even though I'm very old. I sing the songs that make the whole world sing. I sing the songs of love and special things. I sing the songs that make the young girls cry. I sing the songs, oh my summertime music makes you dance. It gives you spirit to take a chance and to sing some happy song so you can move. Music fills your heart. Well, that's a real fine place to start. It's from me, it's for you, it's from you, it's for me. It's a worldwide symphony. I sing the songs that make the whole world sing. I sing the songs of love and special things. I sing the songs that make the young girls cry. I sing the songs, I sing the songs. I am music, and I sing the songs. Here are the stars this month. Now, this is a representation of the celestial sphere. The sky appears as a sphere because we're on a spherical Earth. Here's the North Pole, the South Pole, and the celestial equator right through the middle of the map. Now, the line that goes curved on here, down like that, is actually the apparent path of the sun, but is really the orbit of the Earth projected into the sky, high in the summertime, low in the wintertime. The reason for this tilt is that we're always tilted 23.5 degrees in our orbit. And so in the summertime, we point into the sun. In the wintertime, we point away from the sun. And we see the sun high in the sky in the summer, low in the sky in the winter. Now, this apparent path, this zodiacal path, wherever the sun is on that path, we see the left half in the early evening, the right half in the early morning. Now, at this particular time of the year, we're almost in the middle of the map in Virgo, where the autumnal equinox is, right about right here in the middle of the map. And as the sun goes down and the twilight begins to take hold, you see the brighter stars in the sky. First, you follow the arc of the Dipper here to Arcturus, the herdsman, and to the bright star Vega, Deneb, and Altair in the summer triangle, and down to the red flashing Antares in the Scorpion. Now, as the night goes on, it gets darker and darker, more stars come out, and we'll come back up to here to Arcturus at the end of the Dipper. Arcturus means the bear keeper. You follow that star up to Gemma, which is in Corona Borealis. We come a little closer, we can see this circle of stars that's called the Northern Crown. In mythology, it was a floral crown. And the bright star Gemma is the little jewel. And you follow that line, it leads you right to Hercules the Kneeler. It's a little bow tie shape with a keystone right here. And that leads on, if you follow that same line from Arcturus through Gemma, on to Vega, which is one of the brighter stars in the sky, in the constellation Lyra the Lyre. This in mythology is the harp of Apollo. It's a little parallelogram shaped grouping. And on to Deneb here in the tail of Cygnus the Swan. This group, the Swan is flying down the Milky Way, and it flies almost right into the other star, Altair and Aquila the Eagle. Altair means soaring eagle, and it carried Ganymede up to Mount Olympus. Also in this grouping of stars, the Southern Triangle, you see another little diamond shape here is called Delphinus the Dolphin, and another group, Sagitta the Arrow, right halfway between the head of the eagle and the tail, or the head of the swan. Right halfway between is Sagitta, which is the arrow supposedly shot by Sagittarius just below. And if you come south here, you can see Sagittarius, this grouping here, with it looks sort of like a teapot. Here's the top of the teapot, the handle, and the spout out over here. This is actually the bow and the arrow that's shooting on into the scorpion here. Now here's this tail of the scorpion, the heart of the scorpion, which is Antares, named by Copernicus, rival of Mars, flashing red, the head of the scorpion, and then Libra, which is now a new constellation, the Scales, was actually an ancient double constellation with Scorpius. They were the claws, the northern claw, Zubin esh-Shamali, and the southern claw, Zubin el-Janubi. Now directly above this grouping on the southern horizon is Ophiuchus, the serpent bearer. In Greek mythology, he was in Troy, and serpents engulfed him. And the serpent is divided into two parts, the only constellation cut in two. The X is the head, Serpens Cayuda, and the tail, Serpens Caput, and Serpens Cayuda. And I neglected to mention that Sagittarius right here is known as Chiron, the Greek centaur, half man, half horse, who is a tutor and trainer of lesser gods. Now further on from the ecliptic back this way is Capricornus, the water goat, which is standing by the water, and Aquarius, the water bear. Here's the X, or the water jar, on the shoulder of the water bear, and little water droplets floating down into the mouth of the southern fish. Here's Fomolo, and the southern fish, Piscis austrinus. Now this is all in the southeastern, and in the eastern sky, directly rising up overhead, is this great square of Pegasus, which is the flying horse, involved in a whole host of stories with other characters that will come out later on tonight, but in a month they'll be up earlier for us to see and study then, and we'll do it then.